So today I'll be talking about the third and fourth lines of the 1,000-character classic, the 1,500-year-old Chinese classic, in which no characters repeat themselves. These two lines extend the cosmological themes of the first two lines we looked at in a previous video. So today we move on to the third and fourth lines. So the translation of this line is simple. The sun rises and sets, the moon waxes and wanes. So let's go through this character by character. First is the sun. It may not look that obvious, but this character has evolved from a pictogram. Next is the moon. It is also from a pictogram. It looks like a crescent moon. Then we have a word which gets translated as full or fulfilled, not a common character in modern Japanese or Korean, gets some use in Chinese. Then we have a very obscure character which is entirely unused in modern Chinese, Korean, or Japanese. And this word means wane, incline, lean. So let's hear it pronounced. First Korean, Il wol yong chuk. Japanese, Nichi getsu e shoku. Chinese, from a recording.
日月盈仄
One more time. Korean, Il wol yong chuk. Japanese, Nichi getsu e shoku. Chinese,
日月盈仄日月盈仄
which brings us to the next line. This is characters 13 to 16, or line number 4, translated as the constellations are arrayed across a vast expanse. So the first two characters together were the name of one of the ancient Chinese constellations. So in ancient China, the night sky was divided into 28 mansions. On its own, this first character could mean star, morning, or dragon. The second character means lodging or accommodation, and also gets translated as mansion, as in the ancient Chinese equivalent of constellation. The next character indicates spread or row. The fourth character could mean extend or expand. So in Korean, Jinsuk Yeoljang. Japanese, Shinshuku Reicho. Chinese,
辰宿列张辰宿列张
I do admire our ancient ancestors who were able to guide themselves by the night sky. And after all, we are all stardust. Calcium comes from the explosion of supernova in the distant past. Or so I'm told. I know more about poetry than I know about physics or chemistry. So next I want to focus on some tips about how to write the characters, how to remember the characters. So first of all, we have the character for sun, and the sun is radical 72. And in that box, you'll see other characters in the 1,000 character classic which use the sun radical. Next we have the moon, which is also a radical and also a character to itself. And in the box we have other characters that are in the 1,000 character classic which have the moon radical. Then we have radical 161, again a character by itself, the one that I said was sometimes meaning dragon or morning. And there's a few other characters in the classic that also have that component. Okay, next I have a word list I made, okay? So 14 words. What I try to do on these word lists is choose a word that is relevant in Korean, Chinese, and Japanese, or particularly relevant to one of those. So first we have everyday. Korean, 매일. Japanese, 마이니치. Chinese,
每日
Notice in the top left of this, there are two numbers. One is 947. That means the left character is the 947th character of the classic. The right character is number 9, the sun that we are talking about in this lesson. Then we have Japan. In Korean, Ilbon. Japanese, Nihon or Nippon. You will hear both. And Chinese.
日本
Next we have moonlight, in Korean, wolkwang, Japanese, geiko, and Chinese.
月光
Now we have the New Year, our first month, the Lunar New Year. Note that in Japanese, the New Year gets celebrated on the Gregorian calendar, not the Lunar New Year in modern times. So in Korean, Cheongwol, Japanese, Shogatsu, Chinese.
正月
This means birthday. I never heard this word when I lived in Korea, except in the context of the Buddha's birthday holiday. So in Korean, this is pronounced Tanshin. Japanese sounds almost the same. Tanshin. As far as I know, that's the same. Okay, so one more time. Korean, Tanshin. Japanese, Tanshin. Chinese.
诞辰
Then we have the word for lodging. When I lived in Korea, instead of this word, the word minbak was more widely used or always used. So I never heard this word in Korean, but still, if I were to say it in Korean, minsuk, Japanese, minshuku, Chinese.
民宿
Oh, and by the way, for one of the years that I lived in Japan, I worked in Shinjuku, and Juku uses that shuku character, which is also sometimes said juku or shuku. Then we have shukudai or sukje, which is homework. So Korean sukje, Japanese shukudai, Chinese.
素题
And I don't think that word is commonly used in Chinese, but it's very common in Japanese and Korean. Then it makes sense that the same character that can express the spreading of stars can be used for a chain of islands. This in Korean is Yoredo, in Japanese Reito, Chinese.
列岛
We have train. This is a common word in all three languages. Korean, Yolcha, Japanese Reisha, Chinese.
罗列
Again, this is common in all three languages, this word, for claim or assert. Korean, jujang, Japanese, shucho, Chinese.
主张
Okay, so today, these are the ones we looked at, characters 9 through 16. Next time, we'll be looking at two lines that have a very connections with weather, heat and cold, and also with the autumn season and harvest.
천자문,
센지몽, 千字文
As always, I remind you that my own knowledge of these languages is not substantial, so if you notice a mistake or omission, let me know in the comments. If you have a question, write it in the comments, and hopefully I or somebody can get back to you. Explore other videos on the channel devoted to the 1000 character classic. I will eventually be introducing all 250 lines of the classic poem. I will also be making videos about my study methods and other aspects of the Chinese, Japanese, and Korean languages. I wish you a happy and productive language studies.